Hey guys, it's Miss Casey in the STEM Lab. I just wanted to tell you how much we miss you and we can't wait to get back in the classroom. But until then, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our new unit. And can you guess what it is about and what I'm wearing? You see my earrings? What do you think it's going to be about? Maybe weather? Okay, so what we're going to talk about is all the different types of weather that we do have. So what we've had a lot of lately is rain. And along with rain comes what? Lightning. So lots of rain and lots of lightning. So the first thing that we're going to do is Miss Casey's just going to read you a quick book, and then we're going to talk about what makes these different things, okay? And we're going to read this book, Safe in a Storm by Stephen R. Swinburne. When the storm rumbles loudly and the sky turns to ink, snuggle close, my little mole, touch nose warm and pink. When the clouds grow darker and the rain pelts and stings, I'm here, my little duck, keep warm beside my wings. As the deep storm begins to pound, making mountains of the sea, dive deep, my little whale, and swim next to me. Across the savannah, clouds grow black and blue. Don't worry, my little giraffe, I'll watch over you. While the wind, rain, and mist hide the pack from view, close your eyes, my little wolf, I'm right here with you. When the winds howl and blow with all their might, hang on, my little sloth, I've got you, hold tight. While the raging storm bends every branch on the tree, snuggle close, my little owl, between the big tree and me. The hurricane winds lash at the edge, where we hide, cuddle near, my little bobcat, safe by my side. Across the meadow, the wild winds do not ease. Nuzzle deep, my little lamb, close to my fleece. The big gale sways our tree from side to side. Be still, my little chimp, pretend it's a ride. The winds moan outside the den we have dug. Hush now, my little bear. Inside, we're all snug. The rain splashes around, making rivers run high. Stay cozy, my little rabbit, our burrows all dry. A storm will always end. Don't worry and sleep tight. I'll be right here, my little one. I love you. Good night. So you sleep in. So from when we read the book, we know that when the rains and the storms come, we know that we are going to be safe because our mamas and daddies and our teachers teach us certain things to do in case it's a tornado or bad weather. And most of the time, God's just into the rain to water the plants and give the animals water for everything else that they need. Okay, so we read our fiction book, and now Miss Casey's got a nonfiction book for you. So remember, nonfiction means that it's not made up and it's real. So it's got facts in it for us. So this is one of our Smart Words readers. It's called Rain and Lightning. Now I'm not going to read all of it to you, but I do want to show you some of the things that are in here. So we've got some cool special words in here, like rain and precipitation. So precipitation is one of our fancy $5 words for things like rain, snow, sleet, and hail. So anything that comes out of the clouds is made up of that liquid, that water, okay? And so most of my big kids know that water is the element. We've got H2O, so it takes 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen to make that water. Precipitation is any form of water, including rain, snow, sleet, and hail, that falls from the clouds to the earth. So the source of that rain or any other kind of precipitation comes from the clouds, and we'll talk about that later on. So, soaked, the day may have started sunny and bright, but before you even got the food out of your picnic basket, the sky darkened soon. A few raindrops were followed by a downpour. So downpour would be not just the misting, but like the downpour, lots and lots of rain, so we couldn't go outside. As you run for cover, all you can think of is how annoying rain can be. Rain is liquid water that falls from the clouds to Earth's surface. It's just one form of precipitation, or any form of water that falls from clouds to Earth's surface. Other forms of precipitation are what we talked about: snow, sleet, and hail. Sometimes rain can spoil our plans, like it might cancel a baseball game or a birthday party outside or even recess. But when it does, try to remember what Earth would be like without rain. Plants depend on rain. All animals, including people, depend on plants for food. So lots of our farmers need rain to grow our crops. Most of Earth's water is found in oceans. And the ocean, is that salt water or fresh water? Salt water, good. But it's fresh water found in streams, lakes, rivers, and even underground that most living things need to survive. So we need that fresh water, and rain is fresh water. It may seem odd that after billions of Earth years has not run out of water. Fortunately, our planet is natural at recycling. And so that's something we'll talk about later on, is the water cycle, how we reuse that rain over and over again. One of my favorite scenes in Frozen 2 is when Olaf talks about how water has a memory, and he gives you all those facts about water, and he talks about how water cycles through things. So next time you watch Frozen 2, you listen carefully to Olaf as he tells you about the water cycle. So we're going to talk about some of the things that we see outside when it's raining. So usually, sometimes in the summer we can have a light rain, and it's not that bad, it's still a little bit sunny, but usually when it's raining, we see lots of clouds, okay? And so there's different types of clouds, so different kinds of clouds make rain or other forms of precipitation. And again, we'll talk about more of the different types of clouds when we keep going into our weather unit, okay? So sometimes just those clouds just bring some rain, okay? And so rain is that liquid, that H2O, that water, okay? So and again, it's part of those different forms of precipitation. So that's your big word I want you to remember, okay? So to have the rain, we have to have the clouds. Now, not always do we have lightning with our rain, but sometimes we do have storms. Like the other night, that's what woke me up, as I could see the flashes of lightning through the window. So sometimes to get our rain, we have to have a little bit of lightning to come with it. And lightning is something that we talked about in our electricity unit not too long ago. We talked about it was a certain form of energy in electricity. Do you remember what we did? We rubbed our hands together and we got that static electricity. Or when we rubbed the balloon on our hair and our hair stood up all crazy. So that was that static electricity. So remember that lightning is a lot like that. It takes those positive and negative charges, and that's how we get lightning. And we'll do a cool experiment later on about how to make some lightning. Okay, so now we're going to do our experiment to make our own rain cloud, okay? So I have just a nice glass jar, just a mason jar. You can use a clear plastic cup or any kind of clear jar, like a mason jar, like a mixing, something your mom might put tea in. So you're more than welcome to use anything else if you don't have a mason jar. And I just filled it almost all the way to the top with plain water out of the sink. And then I have some shaving cream and some food coloring. I did get blue to be like water, but don't worry about what color you have. You can use any color food coloring that you have. So just make sure your shaving cream is not like the gel kind that comes out and then when you rub it together it gets foamy. So make sure you have the kind of old school shaving cream, okay? So we're going to shake it up, and then we're going to put our shaving cream at the top of our jar. So this is going to be our cloud, okay? All right, so we have our cloud at the top. And then we are going to take our food coloring and just drop a few drops through. And then we should start to be able to see it raining in our jar. So let me pull it up just a little bit closer so you can see our rain coming down. It's moving when I move. So you can see the precipitation start to fall from our clouds. So Miss Casey would love to do this with you in person, and I promise we'll do lots of cool weather experiments as soon as we can. But I want you to give this little STEM challenge a try if you can. Like I said, make sure your shaving cream is not the gel kind, that you have the kind that's already foamed, so like the 99-cent kind. And then any color food coloring will do, and it will show you that precipitation coming out of those clouds. Hey guys, it's Miss Casey again. I just want to show you some of the books that we have dealing with our weather unit. Most of these are nonfiction. Of course, our Magic School Bus books are fiction, but they do have lots of good facts in them. So this is one of my favorite. And also, don't forget that Magic School Bus is on Netflix now or YouTube, and you can look up the episodes that have to do with weather, and you can watch some of those to feel like you are having your own STEM experience. Okay, and a lot of our other books are nonfiction books, so they do have all facts in them. So they deal with different types of precipitation that we have. And what were those? They are water, which is water. Precipitation is water. And then we have rain, sleet, snow, and hail. So those are all the different forms of precipitation that we can have. So we have superstorms. So like the other night, I felt like it was a superstorm because of all the lightning that we saw. And we talked about how lightning was like what kind of electricity? Static electricity. So it's when those positive and negative things get going together, and then the clouds, so the lightning and the rain comes from the clouds, and lightning is released, so it's like that static electricity. And then we have some with floods, and we have dealt with floods here in the Delta, floods from the Mississippi River, but it's not just from the river, it's from all of the precipitation that we have, mostly rain for us, but up north, their precipitation comes in the form of a lot of snow and rain up there, and it goes into the Mississippi River, and then it floods through the Delta. So we have had some experience with floods. And then, like we talked about with the lightning, again, that's static electricity. So these are about blizzards, which we don't have a whole lot of experience with because it doesn't snow a whole lot down here in Mississippi, but maybe if you've been snow skiing or been to visit somebody up north, you've been in a blizzard and you've seen what it can do. So we get really excited about a snow day, but people that have to deal with this on a daily basis are not too excited about snow days because their cities are very prepared to deal with this form of precipitation. So they have all the snow plows and all the tools and materials that they need to make sure the snow gets out really quick. So we have some on blizzards. And then this is a type of weather that we are kind of familiar with because we are not a landlocked state. That means we do have access to water. We have the Gulf of Mexico borders South Mississippi. So hurricanes are formed in the ocean, and a lot of things that go along with hurricanes are strong winds, rain, and things like that. And then so we'll focus on hurricanes at one point, and we'll talk about the different categories. So that means like the different levels, if it's a really bad one or if it's one that's not that bad. So we'll talk about those things when we talk about hurricanes. So this is not necessarily weather, but it is going along with like these natural disasters that can happen with weather, like the hurricanes and the blizzards and the floods. But these two things are sometimes just grouped into these natural disasters, earthquakes and volcanoes. So earthquakes can't really be predicted. We have volcanoes in our country, in the United States. There are some active and some dormant, so that means they're not getting ready to explode anytime soon. Earthquakes happen along like fault lines. When we talked about our Earth unit, we talked about those tectonic plates that are underneath the Earth's crust and how sometimes they can slide or they'll pull apart or push up and the different things that they form. And one of the things that can be caused by those tectonic plates shifting are earthquakes. So while there's not a whole lot of earthquakes here in Mississippi, there are earthquakes that happen all over. California is probably the most infamous for going through a lot of earthquakes. So, and then all of this having to do with weather and climate. So when we talked about Earth, we talked about the equator, which runs right through the middle of the Earth. So it's kind of like the belt. When we did our song, we always said the equator is right here at our hips. So countries that are close to the equator are usually always going to be warmer. And for the rest of us that are kind of about halfway away from the equator, we have our warmer seasons like spring and summer when the Earth is tilted on its axis toward the sun. So it's going to be warmer there. So that's when we have our spring and summer. And that is when it's obviously warmer for us. And we go through the different types of weather that we have in certain seasons. Spring seems to be more rainy. Obviously blizzards, even though they don't happen for us, but blizzards will happen in the winter seasons for most of us. So I have lots of books that I can't wait for you to see. Just hang on and we'll start reading through some of them, and we're going to talk about each of our natural disasters and each of our different types of weather. Go through those forms of precipitation, talking about how they happen, what we can do to prepare for them to happen, and do some neat science experiments with those.